G'day photographers, how are you going? Sorry about the technical difficulties. Here's my workaround. So tonight I want to show you Adobe Bridge and introduce you to Adobe Photoshop. Photoshop is a pretty full-on technical program that hides a lot of its functionality in complicated menus and dialog boxes, and it's really not that user friendly. That's not to say you can't learn it, and over the coming weeks we will get deeper and deeper into it, but tonight I wanted to introduce you to a way that brings all of Photoshop's functions out of hiding and displays them in a really nice dialog box where you can actually just play with them, and it's not intimidating. It's not going to destruct your photo. It's just going to work out really nice. So we will get to Photoshop in a minute. We are going to use Bridge, and what Bridge does, its name is really appropriate to what it does. It doesn't really do anything itself, but it bridges, the gap between Photoshop and the folder of your photos. It borrows the organizational skills of your computer, and it borrows the editing skills of Photoshop, and it kind of meets everyone in the middle, and it goes alright. So when you open up Bridge, you'll find a screen this will be where your photo is displayed. This will be where you see your photos, and this side of things is where you go digging to find your photos. So I'm going to look for some photos in a folder called Pictures, because that's where I keep my photos, but you could point Bridge to your hard drive. I've got some photos in this folder here, and I've got some photos of our recent excursion to Melbourne. Now, when I flip to the film strip view, we're going to start to see things looking how I described them a minute ago. My computer's going to go nice and slow because I'm recording my screen. Right, here we go. So basically what we've got is a list, all the photos we see in our folder are now displaying below this preview screen. If I click on one, we can see that photo much larger. Why I'm taking you through Bridge will hopefully become apparent now, because what I wanted to get you guys to do tonight is to choose a photo like this one, maybe, and then come up to the top of the screen here and press the Open in Camera Raw button. And here's where Bridge neatly kind of strips all the neat functions in Photoshop out of the menus and all the hidden away corners of Photoshop, and it presents them in something you can see. So before you'd have, traditionally when we teach this, we'd have to teach students how to dig through Photoshop to find the exposure and contrast and highlight and shadows, the blacks, the clarity, the vibrance and saturation. Now we can just come to Bridge, we can hit on that Camera Raw logo, and we can actually, just by sliding these sliders around, really make some nice editing impacts on our photo without getting too technical. And that, to me, because I'm not the most technical person in the world, I enjoy that. If you make an adjustment to your photo and you decide you don't like it, you can revert that selection back to 0, or you can double click on it and it'll slide back to 0 too. So yeah, going forward, say if I want to just see how much some extra exposure will look, I'll often double click, leave my mouse where it was, and then click again, and you'll start to see you've got a quick kind of before and after transition there. Yeah, alright, so where we're going to go for the rest of tonight is we're going to play with this a lot, and we're going to really get some experimentation in Camera Raw here. It's going to feel a lot like PicMonkey, but it's going to feel a lot more professional and a lot more powerful, and that's why it's a good bridging tool between, you know, PicMonkey and those online editors and full-on Photoshop, because it's got the easy use as those, but it's literally borrowing these features right out of Photoshop. While we're working in Camera Raw, Photoshop is actually awake and working. So if we were to, for example, delete Photoshop off our computer and use Bridge, Camera Raw wouldn't be enabled, because the two programs, they need each other. Alright, so once I get a photo where I like it, I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to say save it in the same location, and that's going to, you know, make those changes to that photo. One more thing in Bridge, if you want to work on a selection of photos, so maybe that one and that one and that one, you select them together, and then you hit the Camera Raw button. Everything looks the same, except we get an extra film strip here where we can toggle through the photos, and we can you know, quickly start to work through a bunch of photos without having to go in and out of Camera Raw. Alrighty, well done, good luck, and thank you for your patience.